This is Andy from Mantic Games, and you're listening to the Mantic Universe Podcast. So much universe, so little time.
Fantastic. It is brilliant, though, isn't it, Danny, when you go to a tournament and you just, meet new friends and, you're setting yourself up for future fun,
And that's because I do so many tournaments in the area. It's just like, you're always going to get good games because you know the guys that are there. You can look down the list of entrants and you go, oh, it's great because those 10 guys, I know them. I know I'm going to get great games. And then it's always lovely to see like that extra 3 or 4 new players that you've not met before. So you get a good experience, and then you get to meet new people as well. So slowly building up the community and meeting new people. It's great.
Hi, this is Alessio Cavatore, and you're listening to the Mantic Universe Podcast. So many universes, so little time.
And
Fantastic.
when you said demon, my immediate thought was getting an abyssal fiend, giving it a big hawk's head, like it's been expanded into a massive orc demon, and using that as an extra wing slasher.
Yeah, oh, great idea.
So that was my first thought. When you were talking that, I was like, ooh, which way is this going to go? Well, listening to you, now I want to do an orc army. So there's a Shield Wolf miniatures holiday in Copenhagen. We went to a random shop. I was like, oh, can we go in here? Look at toy soldiers. They didn't have any like Mantic stuff or anything. I saw these Shield Wolf miniature mountain orcs, and they're like proper feral. And so I got a box of them, and it's been like 3 years, and I've not got around to painting them. So I might get them out and paint them up and see where I go from there.
I'm supposed to be working on my Twilight Kin army at the moment, and I sort of am, but I've got distracted painting up Riftforge Orcs. I had the army painted, but I wasn't that happy with it, so I've been trying to just make it look a little bit nicer. So, I'll leave the idea with you. If I'm playing Riftforge Orcs, how can I get involved in this narrative? Because I was thinking maybe they were sent out to try and conquer, to sort of bring the Scar Orcs to heel, but maybe there's something a bit more, just a bit more nuanced. That we can think of. Yeah.
Skarnek has a brother who went on an expedition and never returned. I'm just wondering whether that particular war chief went into the Rift
adventures and comes back. That would be super cool, because I think the Riftforge Orcs, they're kind of a bit more like the what's it called? They're a bit more like Saruman's orcs, aren't they? They're more heavily armoured, more disciplined, less tribal. Yeah. Fantastic.
Chris. What do you call an orc covered in pastry? An orc pie.
Okay, that was good.
I can't believe you laughed at that. What's wrong with you?
There you go, the ratings.
Super. But I think, so I mean, what I absolutely love about this is as we sort of said at the top of the show, it's what happens if you consider yourself a narrative gamer and you go to a competitive environment. It's, you'd think that is a bit of a desert for you, but it's not at all. It can spark ideas if you're just looking for them. So, after Walt came back from the tournament, it was sort of, okay, what did it all mean for the Scar Orcs? And leave that with me. I'll get back to you. And then, of course, he's come across this idea of the Dark Mistress, I think it was, wasn't it? And just from one of the games, obviously that was one of the characters his opponent had, and it's just picked up on something he thinks is cool and just run with it. It's just super cool to see, isn't it, to be quite honest?
Yeah, it's a lovely example of it. Like I say, there's a scale of gamers. Some people it's just like a game of chess. Other people it's a story. There's a big long sliding scale in between there. Walt's one end, might say a Masters player's the other end. We all cross each other somewhere along the line. It's just what you get out of it. And just because you do one doesn't mean you can't do the other as well. Obviously, you were talking to a lot of people at the tournament. Did you inspire anybody to maybe narrative up their army a little bit? Did you?
I think the people I was playing against, they were already narratively inspired. I mean, I could actually see that in their army composition. We had a lot of fun. There was a lot. There wasn't silence during the game. I see every tournament as a narrative-rich environment.
Do you do voices and sound effects?
No, because I don't want people thinking I'm weird.
I do that even when I'm competitive gaming.
Yeah.
And I swear at them as well when they misbehave. I'm the master. Yeah. They should do as they're told. And if they roll badly, then they're going to get sworn at. It's the only way to win a campaign is shout, and shout some more.
Yeah. No, I save my voices for the audio clips, Danny.
But I think as well, something we've mentioned previously is Kings of War makes an amazing tournament competitive game, but that doesn't mean to say it can't also be a great narrative game, right?
Well, that's one of the good things about Kings of War. Everybody's going nuts about the old world at the moment, and people are into that because it's got like that long, rich history. I mean, we've got 10, 12 books out by Winged Hussar. There's more Gotrek and Felix books out for those two characters than there are for the entire Mantic line. And it's going to take a long time to build up that narrative. So people come into that world and think, this is like this, and the rules are a little bit more complicated to reflect that. But because Mantic's got the rules are simple and uncomplicated, that gives a lot of breadth where you can add in your own narrative. So it doesn't have to be this character in this situation in this way. You can adapt things, you can make things your own as well. It's a nice blend, and you get less people going, actually they wouldn't do it like that. It's
and that's the wrong colour blue. But I think we were talking about this and I think previously we sort of agreed that skirmish games are the best for narrative gaming. But then I was thinking about Kings of War, and I was thinking, well, let's say, for example, you've got an infantry regiment. You could think more about who leads that infantry regiment, like the character who is, maybe it's a duke or whatever, who is, and you can think about the specific characters. Maybe you have a sort of a Prince Rupert type leader, or whatever you want to do. So again, you can focus on specific characters if you want to, in that way, if that makes sense.
I mean, there's even that within the game itself. I mean, there's an Abyssal Guard unit. I can't remember what they're called, the Betrayers or something, in the Abyssal unit, where they specifically get vicious against characters. In the Twilight Kin, you can upgrade them to the Fleet Wardens of this particular ship. There are narrative aspects within Kings of War, but there's not so much that it takes away from the game itself. So there are a lot of aspects like that in the game, and even just using things like magic items, like I was saying with the God Speakers, they're running around casting fireballs, they love it. Get a magic diadem, gives them even more flying power. You can make your characters, you can make your units a certain way just by adding things like that. And even building units, putting in things like banners and different shields, you can create them in a very specific way just to give it a little bit of narrative flavour.
I'm super lucky at the moment. I've got a new friend painting up a Northern Alliance army and a new friend painting up a Night Stalkers army. So, for the last couple of years, I've been, taking my armies to the local shop and, taking a friend with me and going, come on, everyone, come and play this with me. And having very little success, if I'm completely honest, trying to get people to buy in. It's been difficult. So it's brilliant, people sending me photos of what they're working on, etc. And one of them's a very new, they're both very new painters, one of which is basically brand new. And funnily enough, actually, Walt, one of them is from Melbourne. Super nice guy. It's so nice to see because he sends photos of literally the first model he's ever painted, kind of thing. Yep. These guys they're motivated to do stuff. It's brilliant, And I think narratively we're really lucky because I'm doing Twilight Kin at the moment. So Night Stalkers and Northern Alliance, that feels very rich. Those three armies together, very very rich for narrative gaming. Super. So Danny, what are you working on at the moment? Just quickly before we wrap up.
I'm off to the Beachhead tournament down in Bournemouth at the weekend. That's 3 games of 1995 points on the Saturday, and then 2 games of 2,300 points on the Sunday. So I'm taking my undead. I'm not taking Lady Alona, I'm afraid. I came 4th last year there, but I've decided to go a bit more punchy. So I've just finished painting up 2 hordes of zombie trolls and a big Rev Cav horde. So I got some Rev Cav in the mystery box. I was like, I know what they can be used for. So I've done them as like a hunting pack. So I've got loads of little skeleton dogs and some of the skeleton handlers I had spare. So I've done like the cavalry and interspersed with so it looks like a hunting pack with the dogs running before them. So that's filled out the big base nicely. And taking Morgoth in the big unit, in the big army, I'm taking a couple of catapults. Got 2 regiments of ghouls with the Thunderous Aura, so should be fun. They're not really narrative, my undead. They're just like, I want to speed paint and just get a nice big gaming army. I can pick what I want. But my halflings, I'm doing a bit more narrative scale. So,
but Danny, you are a super painter. Yeah. And isn't it funny?
I'm going to put the effort in, but I can't often be bothered.
Yeah. But isn't it funny that suddenly you're playing an undead army? It's very suspicious, Danny.
Well, I've had an undead one of my first Warhammer armies. I remember in the days before you had like padded boxes, I used to have Nagash and loads of the old metal one and loads of the old plastic skeletons. And I had to bike 2 miles to my closest friend to play a game. And that Nagash would just be like bang, 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 bang in this little cardboard box. And I went from having like 50 skeletons to like 8 over the course of 2 years because they just got smashed to pieces.
What I find inexplicable is even now, like just last week I went to the local game shop and played. How many people have their beautiful, expensive models in a shoebox or something? I'm really amazed how little people invest in, getting nice sturdy boxes, but they're not magnetizing or anything. They're just putting all the models in a shoebox and, carry it to the shop, throw it in the car, it'll be all right. Hey guys, I'm sorry, there's just one more thing I wanted to talk about, but it was not related to narrative. Do we want to wrap that up, or are we happy where the Scar Orcs are currently?
Yeah.
Well, to finish off, I think there's only one thing for it. I think Walt should stand on the table, paint himself green, and shout, "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough."
I'm not going to do that, Danny.
Don't laugh at me, I'm serious.
There's a lot of me to paint green.
It really, Walt, it really sounds like, though, it's it was exactly what you were hoping for in terms of a Kings of War tournament.
Yeah, it was. It was
as an experience. That's brilliant. Thank goodness. When Walt flies, from the other side of the world and plays his first game of Kings of War, and you think, oh God, I hope he has a good time. Hope he actually enjoys this, rather than gets here and goes, I can take it or leave it.
As we've talked about, it's also the community. The community is a big part of this, and it's a positive community. In that sort of environment, of course you're going to have fun.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Well, 6 months ago, I was sat on the steps outside Mantic HQ, and all of a sudden this Australian guy's talking in German to the French guy and the English guy next to me, and then the guy from Austria behind's chatting German, and then 6 months later, I'm on a podcast chatting to you after all this.
Isn't it funny? And there was a Swiss bloke as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
People from like 5 different countries all just sat there on the Mantic HQ. It's fantastic.
Sweating.
Oh God, it was hot. But it's fantastic how the community all comes together. I mean, I listen to podcasts all the way from like Countercharge as well. People all over the world, and we've all got the same loves and the same interests. And it's nice that we've got something like the internet. Oh my God, that made me sound old.
I think other game systems as well. I think if it's easy to get a game, you simply don't have to be so nice. Do you know what I mean? It's if you don't have a great experience with someone, oh well, never mind, I'll play someone else next week. Doesn't really matter. Whereas something like Kings of War with a relatively small community, yes, we do. Don't get me wrong, we do want to be nice to each other, but it really does force you to really make the extra effort, I think, because it is, often if someone writes on, let's say, for example, on the Facebook group and says, "Hey, I'm new to the game," it's very easy to in your busy day to ignore that message rather than say, "Hey, welcome," and how can I help, and put your hand up. So changing the subject, sorry, thank you so much for putting that together and going to so much. But I tell you what, I think Danny is, just unbelievably good at doing the recordings, isn't he? He's just, I was expecting him to be really good at it, but he's just, over the top good, isn't he? It's a bit crazy. And hey, guys, today, so I haven't thought about narrative for this, but I was just thinking about Clash of Kings UK. So today I was fiddling with my list. So I've got a 2,300 points list. Do you mind if I run you through it quickly? 2 regiments of Void Touch mutants, which are 230 points, and then one's got the Mead of Madness, which gives it an extra bit of wild charge. So these are crazy monsters from the Void. So they're speed 7, hit on 3s and melee, low defense, but they've got 20 attacks. So they're a kind of glass cannon, type unit. I've then got 3 regiments, the small unit of 3 troops of Bound Phantoms, which are flying ghosty things. Again, only defense 4, but speed 10, fly, nimble, stealthy, fearless 12. So they're expensive at 100 points for chaff, but really amazingly good chaff. I've then got 2 hordes of, and by the way, sorry guys, a big part of this was how can I pack this to take it on an aeroplane. I've got 2 hordes of the Impalers. So these are only speed 5, but they're melee 3 with elite, and they've got big shield, which means from the front they've got defense 6, and in the side they've only got defense 4. But as long as I keep everything to the front of me, they're going to, they've only got crushing strength 1, so they don't do loads and loads of damage. But I think they'll grind. I think that's the idea. That's my anvil. That's the shield of my army. So I'll plonk them in the middle and try and direct all the traffic towards them, and then just hopefully they'll stick in there. I've then got the Bound Mind Screech with the planar apparition upgrade. So this has got Radiance of Life Vault. So it's anything I think within 6 inches of it heals 1 wound every single round, which I think potentially could be super powerful. And then they've got heal 7, which is so defense 6 with a lot of heal sounds like a tough nut to crack. And then from talking to Clem the other day, I've got 2 Bound Terrors, which are a Titan, and it's basically, they're only speed 6, which is one of their downsides, only defense 4, but it's this sort of gribbly monster, only crushing strength 1, but it's got ensnare, and the crazy thing is it's got rampage 8, so against infantry, they're going to be doing 20 attacks. And that just sounds horrible. They've got Strider as well, so they're going to be hitting on 3s probably. So I've got 2 of those. So they're there to just be horrible, weird monsters to just delete units of infantry. I think that would be really nasty. So I think I'll keep them in the middle.
The way I'd beat that list is I would shoot off the Phantoms first, because once they're gone, you can pick and choose what you're going to kill.
Yeah.
Because the Terrors have got ensnare, the Impalers have got big shield, you rock hard to the front, but there's only so much front you can cover. Anything fast is going to get right round your back, and as soon as you take it up the bum, you're dead.
So that's a great point, because I had a Gordrake in the list, which was sort of my redundancy, because that's a fly speed 8 thing.
Gordrake would be fantastic backline.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But as soon as something comes around the side, then you've got a 16-inch charge range of threat to stop them coming into that bubble, so that'll protect your flanks a bit more.
So maybe I drop, because I'm struggling for unlocks. So maybe I drop one of the Terrors to take a Gordrake. But anyway, I'll finish off the list and we can just have a quick little chat. I've got a Navigator who's got the Legacy of Oscan, which means every round I get to pick, do they have stealthy or whatever, I get to pick a bubble of really powerful thing. And then I've got the 2 named characters, Lathiel Blackheart, who is a spellcaster who's really scary. She's the only thing I've got with Bane Chant, which is important, but she's got Enthrall and Windblast, so you can play dirty tricks with moving the enemy's units around, but it also wounds as well, which is super powerful. And then I'll be honest, maybe I could lose him, but he's so cool, is Mikhail. I've got the model for him painted up. He's so cool. So he's 235 points, and maybe that's what I drop to fit in the Gordrake, actually, to be honest. But he's just a brilliant model, really thematic. He's just this big, scary dude riding a nightmare with dread and all sort of very inspiring, and the Sword of Umbra and all the special rules in the world. Yeah.
Take him because he's fun.
He's so cool. He's so cool, and he's doing load of attacks against I think it's against Titans or Heroes and things like that. So he specialises.
Because you don't have a lot of crushing, that'll come in very handy.
Yeah, right. But maybe I drop him to fit in the Gordrake to give me a bit of redundancy. Because I love the idea of having 2 terrors, I think. And also I've got 2 terrors. I've painted them up already. And they fit in the case very nicely as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah, cool.
So there we go. So there's just, in the Twilight Kin list, there's too many good things you want to fit in the list.
It's a very compact list. I think you will get outmaneuvered, but what you do get stuck in that grind, you'll probably kill.
Yeah, I'll lose to a good player, but I'll lose to a good player anyway, so that's, that's fine.
I don't know what I'm taking to Clash yet, what I can be bothered to paint in the meantime.
I'm not worried about Danny, honestly. If I can be bothered to paint something, I will.
Well, I get bored quite easily. I've just done a load of undead. I've got some Basilians I want to paint. I'm doing my halflings really nicely. Weirdly, I'm painting an old orc shaman from like 1992 that I've had waiting around for ages. A couple of Lord of the Rings figures just for a palette change. I've got my vermin. I've got a firefight tournament at the start of March, so I need to finish some plague zombies for that.
Very cool.
And I had a brilliant idea about getting some dwarf plastics, and the vermin have got the big mining drills. So I thought, listening to Jeff Trace from Clash of Kings, who won it, he's like talking about the battle drillers. I was like, I had a brilliant idea. I can make some of them. So I might take dwarves to the one in March. And there's an Armada tournament in March as well I might try and get to. So fun stuff coming up. So I'm going to see what I can. It's nice having a tournament coming up because you're like, oh, fancy something new. So I'm going to force myself to get on the case.
Yeah.
The Clash of Kings is years away, so I'll worry about that then.
Do you try and get to a tournament a month, Danny? Because it seems like you go to a lot of tournaments, right?
Well, I don't have any local gamers. Though weirdly, now the old worlds come back, everybody's like, I'm just getting into Kings of War. And there's been loads of people on Fnatic, and 2 of them were like, anybody in the Surrey area? I was like, me. So I've already organised a game with one fella in a couple of weeks when he gets himself sorted. But yeah, otherwise I just go to a tournament because all my gaming friends are at tournaments now because I've been doing so many, I know everyone.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's just getting to see your friends. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, so try for one tournament a month just about keeps me going.
At some point, I've got to make the, what's it called? The Bournemouth one that's coming up.
Beachhead.
Beachhead, yeah. I've got to make that because I think it's literally like 20 minutes from my parents' house. It's just me getting to my parents' house that's the issue, in fairness. But yeah, it's...
That's really good. We've got loads of great ones in the southeast. We've got Tabletop Republic puts on 2 or 3 a year. Hemel Hempstead, the Kings of Hearts guys, put on a couple a year. The Shroud of the Reapers at the big London LGT, and they put on an extra couple of tournaments a year. We've got some down in Brighton. We've got Entoyment Games down in Poole. We're absolutely swamped down in the southeast. So, Banbury as well. Cybrand's doing Dead Zone and Kings of War. Todd, with that Doppelganger army, he's got 40 players signed up for War of the Roses now in October. And once a year I try and get up to the Northern Kings GT because that's not too far from my parents. So there's a lot of 2-dayers this year, but it's shaping up to be a good fun one. Fantastic. I can't even get to them all.
Really exciting. Fantastic. Yeah, so just as we were talking there, guys, I've just dropped Mikhail from my list and I've put the Gordrake in. So I think you're right. I think, Danny, I need that as redundancy to be a sort of a second line. Otherwise, I'm just going to get surrounded and picked off, I think. So that's, perfect. There we go.
He'll do pretty much the same job as Mikhail, but he's not anywhere near as much points.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, but no, now I've only got one source of inspiring. Oh, no. Okay, no. My navigator's got inspiring talisman. I've got 2. It's two sources of inspiring. That seems low for a 2000.
You'll need one with your Void Mutants, and then you'll need one behind your Impalers.
Yes, in the main line. Yeah. Super. Guys, it's been a lot of fun talking. Is there anything we want to say before we wrap up the episode?
No, thanks for that. I had a lot of fun. And we'll come back and do it again shortly, I hope.
And dear listener, if you've been doing this yourself, get in touch. We'd love to hear your stories as well, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Right, show us, make an effort, write your list, add some extra narrative into it, or do a full background story. It doesn't matter where you are on that, like I say, that line from narrative gamer to competitive gamer. Everywhere's on that sliding scale somewhere, and just even if it's a little bit, just shows what you got. And cool.
Completely
I lost my
right.
train of thought there. What was the
No.
Sorry, I'm slowly sinking down in my chair.
No, absolutely. No. We just a big part of doing this is trying to, firstly having fun ourselves, but also just trying to encourage the dear listener to enjoy this as well, because we're having a lot of fun. Have fun with us and join in. Super. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
No problem, guys. Have a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time on Counter. Oh no, that's the other podcast, isn't it?
Thanks, Danny.
On the Mantic Universe Podcast. Yeah.